So we need to make sure that we have traction. And by traction, I mean, what is our vision, our structure, what is our goals, our planning, our budgets, how much operational cash do we need to have in order to grow our business, how we're getting traction in the business, our customers, our cash. It is so important that we're building a strong foundation as we go. Our business constantly is involved in this environment. Most businesses I work in end up with a leaky bucket. So they go, and they don't build their foundations and strengthen their foundations as they go. They end up entrenched in their business and start getting themselves into overwhelm. Now, having a good foundation and getting good traction gives us an environment where we can develop our niche. And this is an environment that Melissa's going to work on with you to give you a stronger foundation and understanding what you can do in here to really scale your business. Now, what happens here is the opportunity to really build up our sales, our marketing, really understand our target market and our delivery of service. This develops cash. Cash gives us the opportunity to reinvest back into our business so we can grow and leverage ourselves to a much stronger position in our business. Most of us like to earn our money and spend it. Who here in the room loves spending their money? I'd love to know who enjoys doing that, because you know what, I'm one of those too. And that ends us up draining our essential cash to grow this business. So it's really important that we understand that when we're really getting traction in our business, we need to develop operational cash. Operational cash gives us an opportunity for environments like these. Now, I've got some great businesses that have got good foundations, good solid cash flow, and they've been able to design and drive their business through this economic environment. We've actually had some of the businesses shut down and shut their doors temporarily to preserve their operating cash. They've been really smart from the outset, because that gives them an opportunity. We've done the numbers to understand what it takes to get themselves back on track with their businesses start to open up again. Now, we've had businesses that have stayed open longer than they should have done in this environment, for whatever reasons that is for them. And I'm finding those people have either run out of money or are absolutely exhausted. So, you know, this is a very important area for our business. We really need to understand what that means, and understand why we're building our business and why we're earning our money. It's all about the cash. So again, when we don't do it well, we end up completely exhausted. I want to ask you to ask yourselves this: what are the characteristics of a team that could truly make the kind of difference to your business that means you don't have to be there? Your people, bringing your people into your organization is all about understanding how to leverage yourself and leverage away those low value tasks and bring in the champions you need. Sadly, in this climate, a lot of us have had to either bring on people because we've been thriving, or we've had to let a lot of people go and stand a lot of people down. Some of us have hung on to people longer than we really should have done, and we're paying the price for that. It's a very tricky environment they're in, but you know, there's opportunities that come out of all of these areas, and right now there's some real talent out there in the marketplace to be grabbed hold of when the timing's right for your business. People create a great culture, and it's our job as a business owner to really understand what cultural means. And we also need to understand why we're bringing our people in to really make sure we can bring the controls into our business that works for our business. Otherwise, if we bring the wrong people in, or we're bringing in people that aren't skilled enough, we end up in even more overwhelm than ever before. And this is the environment that most business owners cap out in and drain their essential resources, because they haven't structured their business in a way that it starts to thrive in this environment. And a lot of it comes down to your own leadership. Leadership of self gives you the opportunity to lead your business and your team. The whole purpose of developing a great culture and building a great team is so you can leverage your business to where you want to take it to. This is where all the growth starts to come in. There's a fine line between delegation and abdication of your resources and of your time. When you do it right, you get exponential growth. This is the difference through moving through all these three environments and the complexities of what business is all about and where it takes you to your return on investment. This gives you the opportunity to invest and disengage for you to be able to get the freedom of what you've come into business for in the first place. So there is a methodology of building any business in any industry. And I want you to ask yourself right now, where is your business? Where have you found your business right now in this environment? Are you thriving? Are you safe? Are you, I've got somebody here going, I've got to avoid the tax man. You know, it's an interesting environment for everybody. And but what's more important is, where are you right now? Because where you land yourself right now is an opportunity for you to thrive. So I always look at an environment like this as an opportunity to do a little bit of a SWOT analysis on your business. The environment has changed dramatically. Whether it goes back to the way we traded prior, who knows? I don't know, because there's a lot of businesses falling over. The people that are in a good position are able to thrive in there because a lot of their competition have fallen over. Or you may be in an environment like one of my clients is, in the catering industry, in the business district, where nobody is going into the buildings. So, you know, things change, things have changed, and we're still in the process of understanding what that is. So I want you to think about this. I want you to think, you know, what elements in the environment that could cause trouble for your business right now? What characteristics of the business that can give you an advantage over others in this current climate? What are the elements in the environment that the business could exploit to its advantage? There's new opportunities out there. And when we're looking at glasses half empty, because we've all been impacted, we can miss those opportunities. And what do we need to sew up in our business so our business is not at a disadvantage anymore relative to others? Now, these could be in areas of competition, price, market forces, economy. Our strengths could be our clients, our people, our culture, our process, our marketing, our sales. It could be a myriad of things. These are the things we want to look at. It's so important to know what all this is about for our business, because the world has changed. Again, it did it in 2011, it's doing it now. So these are some of the things that you should know about your business right now. You should know your current cash balances, your projected cash flow week by week, assuming your environment remains as is for the next 3 to 4 months. If it changes, you need to change this. You need to understand what your projected monthly expenses are, your fixed and variable costs, payments, what can you extend out, delay, what operating cash have you got available, additional financing, any stray or unused assets for those of you who are in struggle street, what grants and government loans are available for you to capitalise on to stop the gap. Excess baggage that can be trimmed off for you to be able to start up again. What expansion and growth plans can be delayed or extended out or taken advantage of because of the environment that you've actually found yourself in. And what's your communication plan with your team and employees? This is one of the most important aspects, simply because the way you communicate with your team now and moving forward is the impact on the culture of your business that it's going to have. It's going to be quite considerable. And here's a beautiful saying: rowing harder doesn't help if the boat is going in the wrong direction. So I want you to have a think about this. Time to realign your goals, whether you're doing well, whether you're doing okay, whether you haven't even been impacted, whether your business has fell off a cliff or is shut down temporarily or is struggling along. It's really important to realign what it is you want and what is a must for you. Now, I'd love to know here, who here sets really good goals for their business? If you could just give me a quick, yeah, we've got some hands up there. Who's got their goals in their heads? Yes, absolutely. Some people do have that. It's so important to reset your goals in this time and really understand what those are. And if they're not set in this manner, it gives you an opportunity to really struggle with the accountability and you'll be able to test and measure. In this climate, we should be testing and measuring every single week, every single day. Things are changing. I've been working with a multi-million-dollar construction business. They have had multiple issues, and I'm just being called in time and time again to work with them with the changing climate and the molding the business to be able to survive the next challenge, the next challenge, the next challenge. And so far we're moving through it. There's been some really challenging environments with these people. Same with other businesses. We've had to shut them down, but we've preserved our cash, and now we're starting them back up again in a controlled manner. Melbourne, Victoria's now had a challenge for them because they're in there too. So now we're back in there yesterday, readjusting. It's so important that we test and measure, because if we don't do that, then we can get lost in the process and lose our advantage. So here's the thing, if you don't build your dreams and your goals and your plans and holding yourself accountable, you end up with someone else who will hire you to build theirs. Now, I know that's tough, but that's unfortunately what happens, because we get so exhausted and we get taken out by flawed strategy. And that is the problem with most business owners. We're doing the best we can, but our strategy is flawed. And I want to take you back to some principles that is really important, and to realign again in this environment. So again, some of you are doing even better before, some of you aren't. So I want you to think about this. Your money goals all starts with how much you want to earn per annum. So I want you to think about it. If you're looking at 12-month goals and you want to earn 100K, you're worth $416 a day to your business. So you only want to be doing the tasks that are worth that to the business, so your business can generate that amount of income for you. This is income, not profit. If you want to earn $250,000 a year, you're worth $1,000 a day. What are the tools, the tasks, the strategies that you need to take care of that are worth $1,000 a day? There's no point you saying you want to earn $250,000 a year if you're a hairdressing company, for instance, and you're sweeping the trimmings around the hairdressers that are doing all the cutting for them. You should be driving the business, running your marketing and your sales strategies, really building up the top end of the business so your team can thrive for you. That's how you get your money. And here we go again, $500,000, you're worth $2,000 a day. If you want to earn $1 million for yourself, you're worth $4,000 a day. There is no way you're going to build a business of this caliber if you're doing like $20 an hour tasks. It just isn't going to happen, because you're just not able to strategically look at your business every day to understand the path of action you need to take to get what it is that you want. So it's a bit of a fun thing to do, but it's absolutely critical to understand that this is key for you to have the life that you want to live out of these businesses. They are your vehicles. So your marketplace, most of this is going to be done through Melissa, but I just want to share with you some things about sales. So who here loves sales? Tell me who loves selling. Anyone? I love it. Who here hates sales? Who here doesn't like doing sales? And who here thinks sales is okay? They have to do it, not my favorite. Yeah, I get it. Who here thinks that sales is okay? But you know what? If there was someone else to do it, I know they could do it better than me. So I want you to think about this as we go through this, because it's so important that this is the pointy end of the ship. And you, the business owner, if you haven't got your sales team, are the people that need to be at the pointy end of the ship. So I want you to look at this. Who is your audience? Only 3% of your audience are buying now. Very sobering. 7% of them are open to it. So you can start to see how you need to create your funnels. There's 30% of them not thinking about it. So if you're not tapping into them and reminding them and marketing to them and nurturing them on a regular basis, they're never going to be thinking about it. You've got to start provoking thinking. So there's 30% of them who think they're not interested right now, but they may be in the future. And there's always going to be about 30% of your audience who are definitely not going to be interested in your product and service offering, and that's okay. Most business owners are sitting in the environment when they're only tapping into about 3 to 10% of their marketplace. There's a whole 60% more that you can go and get that you don't even know about, or you're not sure how to go and get, or you're maybe somewhere there but are still not tapping into that marketplace. This is what Melissa's going to give you an opportunity to understand more about after myself. So I want you to think about this in sales. For those who love sales, we're always going to follow up. For those who are not sure about, there's going to be a point in time through this slide that you're going to cap out. So I want to give you these statistics. 48% of salespeople never follow up with the prospect. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and then stop there. I want you to think about which one's you. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. And only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. This is sales for you. Only 2% of sales are made on the first contact. Very sobering, huh? I want you to think about this. Where do you stop? 3% of sales are made on the second contact. Only 5% of sales are made on the third, 10% on the fourth, 80% of sales are made on the 5th to the 12th contact. So I want you to think about how deep is your marketing funnel. When do you cap out? When do you feel bad or don't want to hear another no or another rejection? I want you to see it's just a process. People have to be reminded again and again and again and again before they're ready to buy from you, or something happens within their world that triggers that connection, and the first thing they're thinking about is you. Very sobering, very sobering. I get a lot of clients go, well, hey Jane, you know, won't they get annoyed with me? And I'm like, well, no, they won't. If it's done well, they're going to appreciate you. They're going to appreciate the fact that you're following up with them, that you're providing contact, you're nurturing your clients. So I want you to think about this for your business. If you're going gangbusters right now and you're doing really well, make hay while the sun shines, and make sure your business is really supporting the growth right now, because you may find that you may plateau when this spike of challenge and change starts to level out. If you're in struggle street and you're really challenged, you're either in a position where you really do need to keep your doors shut and preserve your cash, or you've got to start thinking about how can I work harder and harder and harder and contact them more and more and more to start getting their attention. So when they are ready to come and buy from me, they'll be the people I remember. There's always opportunity out there. So please, please, please think about this when you're doing your sales, because this is the result of it. Not enough customers, not enough people who know about you, customers not buying enough from you, poor social media outreach, search engines are not optimized, there's a need for a bigger funnel, website needs to be rebuilt or realigned to where the journey you're on right now, your price is too high or too low because the discovery hasn't been done well, or you're aligned with a target market that isn't right for you, lack of referrals or repeat business. This is all about sales performance or lack of it, or being misaligned with your sales and marketing strategies to get the results that you want. So I want you to really think about where this is resonating in your business You, as I say, you may be in a position where you haven't been damaged or dented at all. And that's a really good thing to be in, because you're making the hay right now. You're getting more operational cash to fuel the next stage of growth of your business. And that's why you want to realign your goals to make sure that you're in a position to take advantage of what you're reaping right now. So this, guys, is sales. No sales plus no profit equals no business. So I love this about our team. So important for our businesses. Most employees are motivated, energetic, committed, and enthusiastic and loyal, except for the 8 hours they work for you. Who here's got great team members on their team? Please indicate if you've got team members and they're just brilliant. Fantastic. Solo, that's okay. It's a nice position to be in an environment like this sometimes. And who here feels like they've got some team members that they really would like to move on? Me, myself, and I. All right. And this is what you've got to look at. You've got to appreciate that, you know, if they're not happy, you know, if you're not happy with them, they're not happy with you. So, you know, you want to be looking at where you're at, or if you're on the space where you are all by yourself right now, and there's an opportunity to bring those people on, what's your expert that you're going to bring in? You don't want to be bringing in somebody who is all about junior apprenticeship. You want to be bringing in an expert. You want to invest in this person to give you the leverage to go to the next level. It takes 2 or 3 key members, if you're solo, to be able to start really reaping the leverage that you need and to start realizing the profits that to come through your business. So very quickly, there's a lot about team and leadership. It's a very complex environment, too much to cover off on an event like this today. I just want to give you the keys to leadership. Building a winning team. Strong leadership. Now, leadership starts with you first. Most of us like being solo because we're really unsure how to take those next steps. So we kind of mold our business around ourselves. And I want you to think about, if I were to stretch, if I were to grow, if I were to change, what would be those people that I bring in, and what are the elements that I need to do to learn better leadership skills to be able to drive and thrive and have a better business place. Common goal. Most business owners keep their team separate. They don't share their goals with the team. It's such a great way to get all your people on the bus, is to really, for them to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. Especially in environments like this. This is, you know, really troubling a lot of people. There's so much uncertainty out there. It rattles a lot of people. You know, I'm seeing a lot of aggression out there. I'm seeing a lot of people taking others out, and I'm seeing people coming together. So it's really good to share where you're at on a regular basis, even if it's done every week, so people can understand what's going on. It's good also in any business organization, when you're bringing people through, is to develop what we call the rules of the game. A set of high level, we call level 5 servant leadership rules. So it's all about elements like always support a teammate in need, always agree to win, always agree to agree. Things like this really craft the standard of your business and really helps your business thrive. You need to have that action plan. That's when all those goals and plans start really coming into place, because it involves your team. The whole purpose of bringing your people in is to support risk taking. If you've got a good action plan and you're testing and measuring regularly, you're teaching your team and yourself to fail fast. When you fail fast, you're supporting the risk taking, you're getting in there and educating your people to do incredibly well for you. Most people abdicate responsibility and their team get dropped in it, which is a really uncomfortable situation for them, and then they get blamed. And so some of us are not bringing in the right people in the first place and really setting ourselves up for fail. So this is how business works in a nutshell. We, the business owner, teach and educate our team to deliver exceptional service to our customers who are happy to support our business because they become raving fans of our business. That enables our business owner to reap the benefits of why they set out for business in the first place. It's absolutely critical that we really understand this cycle, because this is where businesses win and where businesses lose. Leverage, going through those last stages now of path to profit. Hang on, let me just grab a drink. Leverage is all about, let's look at this, finance, marketing, people, and systems. We have to learn how to leverage through our money, leverage through our sales and marketing strategies. So we're not doing it and get it automated. We're leveraging through our people so we can work on the business, not in it. And we want to systemize and automate all our systems and processes as we go. That's why building that foundation of your business is an environment where you're constantly going back into it to strengthen the business as you grow. Otherwise, it starts to get very leaky. So this is really a business built. These are all the elements that you need to have in place to make sure your business is strong, it is systemized, people are held to standard, it's automated, you're measuring it, you've got SMART goals, everybody's on the bus, your sales and marketing plan is absolutely giving the business an opportunity to thrive. All these environments here are key to the success of your business, because this is what you're in business for, guys. You're here for your return on investment. Most of us, if we're going solo, are still learning how to earn our money. Because when we learn how to earn our money and leverage through our people, we're then learning how to accumulate our money, which is our investment dollars and our operational cash. The whole purpose of having that on board is so we can invest our money back into our business, diversify at the right time, and then spend our money and manage it like a pro. I want to share a little bit with you right now. What we're getting is people trying to diversify because they're working through fear-based mechanisms. Unless you have a lot of operational cash and a great team underneath you, I advise you to sit tight. Because if you've got a core product and service that has been absolutely impacted by the current environment, that is going to come back again. That is going to collect back up. So I've got some businesses that I've been working with recently who have diversified, and now they've spent all their money over there, they've got their people distracted over there, and now they're in trouble because they're starting to kick back off and they can't get on the front foot. So I want you to really consider the decisions that you're making through here and seek advice, get help. Because, you know, lovely saying here, you only get paid for the things that you finish, not the things that you start. So guys, ask yourself, where is your business right now? Where is it really? And what's stopping you from being there already? What's stopping you from realizing your dreams, from having a successful business, no matter what the climate is for you? So I want you to think about that, because we bring emotion into our businesses, and I get it right now. Absolutely understand it. You know, it's an environment, it's come out of left field. We are not in control of it. Our businesses are being impacted one way or another by it. So I want you to think about, you know, how is it impacting you personally? Because a business is a vehicle to get you from A to B with a series of tasks over a time frame to achieve a certain result. What we have to do as business owners, we start bringing our emotion into the game. So I want you to consider these things. Now, I'm not saying this is any of you in the room, but when we're in an environment like this, we're maybe not seeing things as they should be, but how we want to see them. So we want to look at our belief systems. You know, what are we avoiding or blaming right now? What are we in denial of? Have a reflection on this. What is our money rules in this environment? I'm hearing all sorts of weird things that are going on in people's heads right now, because they're putting their values and their rules and their beliefs to an environment that is out of their control, and they're making it part of their world. And I get it. It is challenging. I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm working with businesses that are all over the place right now. Some of them doing incredibly well. Some of them doing too well. Some of them closed. Some of them just going again, and they've just closed again. There's all sorts of stuff going on that is really challenging who we are as human beings. So I want you to think about this. What is it costing you to bring that emotion in, or those unresourceful beliefs in? Because this is the tough stuff that we have to address as every business owner. And at some stage, we have to front up to it. Have we got everything in our head, or have we got good, solid plans in place? Is that bringing in too much overwhelm? Are we too entrenched in our businesses that we can't see the wood for the trees? Are we too busy doing? This is the biggest excuse I hear. Not enough time to plan that out, Jane. I'm too busy doing over here. It is death to a business owner. Working longer and harder than ever before. I see people driving themselves back into their business more, instead of thinking strategically where they could have more value to their businesses. Too little cash flow. People are draining their cash right now. People are making the wrong decisions, which is starving their business of operational cash to kick back off at the right time. And some businesses, sadly, are going to close because they just weren't thriving in the right environment when things were going well. And, you know, the impact of this is taking people out, and, you know, they have to close, and that is it. Is your problem a lack of leverage through all this stuff? So I want you to ask yourselves this, guys. Who here knows that there are some commitments here that could be made in order that, if you did make them, would transform your business beyond your wildest dreams right now? I want you to think about that, because, you know, we get impacted by our environment. We get stuck in our environment. We get isolated. You know, it's a lonely world building a business. And if we're not out there pioneering, we're constantly putting ourselves on the back foot and using emotion to stay safe, when we need to be out of our comfort zone, driving and thriving our businesses right now. So is that you? If it is, where do you need to be? Where do you need to reassess yourselves and be 1 year from now? And what is it that you need to change today? I want you to think about this, because if you don't change, and change starts with you first, if you don't change things today, your environment, your business, and everything won't change. So, you know, most of us want to grow our businesses, but the last thing we actually want to do is change ourselves. And when we get hit with environments like this, we end up worse than we ever did before, and challenged more than we ever did before. An environment like this is designed to force you to grow. And if we're hanging on to the fact that we don't want to change, but we want things to change, but we don't want to change, then we're going to end up in a lot of trouble and end up with our businesses dysfunctional. So, guys, for those of you who know you need to change, I've got an opportunity for you. And these are for people with businesses, or businesses that are, you know, struggling, or businesses that are thriving, because there's always that next level. I want to offer you the opportunity to come and sit with me, whether we do it virtually or face-to-face. I don't mind either way. Come and have a couple of hours with me. I'd like to invite you to have a fast-track session with me. I'll sit down with you, and we'll have a really good look at your business, where your business is currently at, what it is you're looking to achieve, what do you need to change today in order to get you back on your journey for a thriving business. Sometimes I'm actually talking to people right now, and I'm having to tell them to shut their business down because they're insolvent. So it is what it is. We're in multiple different places. Some people are thriving like crazy, and there's opportunities out there to take advantage of what's coming our way in the future. So I'd like to give you this, guys, with my compliments. So if this is something that you feel that would really benefit you, sign yourself up, send me an email, give me a call, a text message, don't really care. I'd love to help you with your businesses. I'd love to give you my time. I'm doing this a lot right now. I've got a great skill set. I can support you incredibly well and give you some very, very good advice of where you're sitting right now, good and bad. I'd love to do that for you if you are open to it. So thank you for your time. I'd like to ask you if that's been helpful, and if you have any questions that I can support you with right now. You're all good? Right, fantastic. I hope this has been useful. I really, really thank you very much. I hope it's been useful. I hope it's given you some tools and tactics today. I'd be delighted to help you. For those of you who would love to have a conversation with me, there's plenty going on right now, so please feel free to do that. It is totally with my compliments. It's what I do for business. So I want to thank you for your time, and I want to hand you over to the lovely Melissa. I'll just stop my sharing and let Melissa sort herself out. Hello, Melissa.
Well, hi, that was amazing. Can I just also vouch for Jane? Jane was my business coach a few years ago and really turned my business around, but she turned my mindset around, particularly around leadership and team. That's where I was really struggling, and you helped me amazingly. And if you guys don't take advantage of just seeing her complimentary that costs you nothing, you will gain so much. So I just want to give you that plug, Jane. I think you're amazing.
Thank you, gorgeous woman. You are very lovely, and it was always a pleasure working with you. So thank you. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction to Melissa, and then I'll let Melissa take the rest of it for you. So Melissa, I know her really well. She's an absolute fantastic and passionate business owner. The work she does with her clients and the results she gets for her clients are absolutely phenomenal. Melissa works with brands that share her enthusiasm for creativity, connection, and really turning industries on their heads by doing things differently. And she's so unique in the way she does this and really gets the job done for people. She has a holistic approach to businesses, and so do her clients. Melissa is the founder and director of 2 agencies, and she caters for different types of clients across those 2 agencies. Divine Creative Agency is her flagship agency and has been running for over 20 years now. The standards for her connection and creativity and respect are just off the charts. Divine clients are looking to build their brands through storytelling and building connection, and work solidly towards this when Melissa works with them. And I've seen some fantastic results of this along the way, of what Melissa has done for her clients and just really given them the opportunity to scale. So Melissa, I'm going to leave all that with you, and over to you.
Thank you. I'm glad you stalled and delayed a little bit because I was trying to get the screen sharing going. So the reason why you're probably here, and this is where I invite you straight away to hop into the chat box why you're here, because that helps me to tailor make as we go, so I can skip things or go through things in more detail. But why most people turn up to my webinars are that they're either struggling to know how to market their business online and how to build trust in that online space, because people tend to be very good face-to-face, but now we can't do face-to-face so much, particularly if you're in Victoria. And I can see a lot of the people that are on here, actually like 50% of you guys are from Victoria on this webinar right now. So, you know, that could be an issue, that you're trying to build trust online, or has your business radically changed during this time and you now realize you've got to get online, or maybe you're just looking for opportunities. If that's one of the reasons why you're here, throw that in the chat box. Or you just really want to have a strategy that helps you out and maybe your team, so you can really stay relevant, because you know that your market, and you get a sense that maybe your clients have changed a bit and their needs have changed, and you need to build sales because perhaps what you sold in the past isn't really relevant right now to what your audience actually needs. Thanks, Bill. So all 3. Yeah, Marin's here for strategy. Yeah. And Marin, I love what you were doing online, by the way, throughout the whole COVID closure. It was hilarious. It was such a wonderful, she was doing staycations from home and just using humor like you wouldn't believe in all of her social media posting and stuff. And it was, I took my hat off to you, because not many people can do that. And it was a beautiful way to do personal branding and just keep people entertained, because she was really obviously recognizing that people, you know, were in a stressed out situation. And people have, I'm going to talk about this a lot today, about emotions. people are very emotionally charged and still are incredibly emotionally charged. And I've got some stats to show you as we go through. But Marion used humor beautifully in her social media. So I guess you're just here to sort of see, as in, well, like, yeah, okay, cool. I got this traction and this following. What am I going to do with it now? How am I going to actually convert that into sales? And how much is too much when posting on social media? How often should we post? Is it you, Monique? Most people freak out. Yes, I thought it was you. Most people freak out when I say to them, it's got to be daily, you know, because you have to consider that, you know, when I was getting ready, even putting this webinar together, I was posting daily, sometimes twice a day on all my different channels. I was sending out newsletters, and you do get that feeling that you're going out too frequently to everybody. But you have to remember, whilst it feels like you see every bit of marketing that you put out, but you have to remember that somebody might only be sitting on Instagram, or they might only be sitting on Facebook, and therefore they'll only see 10% of what you put out anyway, or they might only get your emails and they only might open up 25% of your emails. So when you think about it that way, you really need to be doing daily activities every day on every one of your platform that you choose to use, because people aren't going to be exposed to you. There's very few people that actually get to see you on all of your platforms. And if they are seeing you that much, then they're actually highly engaged with you, and they're probably a client anyway. And Jane said, you're here because I love everything you have to say. Oh God, I love you, Jane. Thank you. I can always learn more from you in all these areas. And Jane actually came through with me in the Connection Marketing course, and she runs a beautiful winery. And I would recommend you, Jane, talking to my Jane Challenor about how she can help you grow, because their winery, Jane, is growing exponentially. Jane also had some amazing tactics throughout COVID, which I might share with the group as we go through, of how to deal with it when all of her customer base, which are all the restaurants down in that Victorian area, when they all closed, and they're all closed again now. And that's a large source for where she sells her wine. So she actually started up a drive-through. I'll share it now. Jane started up a drive-through delivery service for people coming through to the winery, because she doesn't have a cellar door, but she has a beautiful turning circle at the winery where they can come through, and she would come out and do sales that way, and their sales spiked. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. And
Fantastic.
So it was a lot of innovation. You know, she used innovation at time, and the people really came together in her local community down in the Bendigo area. There are a lot of, you know, people that are, you know, selling their raw produce and their delicacies, and wineries like herself. They had to really think outside the square, and they're batching up their services together and, you know, sharing databases. So now is a really good time, and this is me going off the cuff as I usually do, about building your community and working together. You've all got the same kind of target audience, and you're not directly competing with each other. And so you should be utilizing each other's databases and your audiences, and doing joint promotions and working out ways you can sell other people's products alongside yours to help each other, but help yourself to grow and expand, and the loyalty that comes with that, and the way that you can endear yourself long term, because we're all in this for the long haul. That's why you're here on this webinar. If you weren't, you know, you wouldn't even have come if you weren't invested in your business. The only people that turn up to these things are people that are serious about their business and want to be here for the long haul. I've been in my business for 20 plus years. Jane's been doing this for 30 plus years. Like, there's a reason why, and it's because we're passionate, we change, we educate, we arm ourselves with information as it comes. I'm always researching, but we're also always giving and sharing. And if you can apply all those principles to your business, there's every chance, you know, with good management as well, and good structure, and getting good advisors like Jane and myself to help you with strategy or with planning, you will survive and you will get through this, because this is just another challenge. This isn't a death knell, it's just another challenge. But even better, it's an opportunity to get into maybe new markets or get a new audience that you never would have considered before. And that leads nicely into this slide, which is, what if right now, and this is my positive mindset, my partner calls me bright side because I have a very positive mindset, but what if you viewed right now as an absolute opportunity to do things better? So you look for the opportunities in your business, how you could be partnering with strategic alliance partners and getting out to their database as well as your own. That's what Jane and I are doing together. You know, we're sharing our knowledge and getting out to each other's audiences. You know, there's a lot to be said for that. Getting your business online is definitely a huge opportunity for this period right now, but not just getting online, like actually understanding why. What are you doing online? You know, what is it? How's it going to enhance your business? So understanding that. Perhaps reinventing your services. We saw that recently with all of the restaurants going into the takeaway market, you know. So, and gyms were doing yoga studios, they were doing classes online, you know, and I feel that's when I started doing yoga. And now that my silly yoga instructor has stopped doing that, I don't go to her anymore. She's missing out on my money. Like, it was such an opportunity to turn that into a permanent online service. So people that are innovative and thinking like this on the spot, they're the opportunities that I'm talking about. You know, Jane with her drive-through delivery service of her wine, you know, you should continue that going, whether people can come to you or not come to you. It's another way to service people. So always look at new ways to do your business and increase that revenue. And this is where you talk to Jane and myself, streamlining your systems, making sure that it all makes sense and it is, you're not just going off in all these random areas, but you're actually strategic in the way that you're doing it, and they are profitable and they are serving you. But this is the big clincher, and I'll be talking about that a lot. Being really relevant to your audience, because things have changed for your audience, and I'll talk you through that in a minute. So our promise to you in the next half an hour now, because this is only a short webinar for me, is I want you just to get a really good understanding of your business and your services in the online capacity, because that's where we have our expertise, and you seek out those growth opportunities. I really want to just give you some examples of how you can transform you and your sales team into becoming real industry rock stars that your clients can love and trust, because they really want. Clients have changed, and I'm going to go into this in a minute, but they're far more emotional right now. Everybody is far more into connection and understanding people's stories. We're way more empathetic and sympathetic, and there's all these stats out there about how emotionally charged we're operating. And Jane was discussing that in her talk, actually, about she's seeing her clients acting incredibly emotionally. It's actually a condition out there that a psychologist has been talking about, which I'll share a quote with you in a minute, which is exactly about that, is we're all very charged, very driven at the moment emotionally, and that's because we've all been through a trauma. Like what's happening in Victoria right now, it is nothing less than traumatic. So our response to that is going to be that we're now a far more emotional, engaged, but erratic kind of audience. So we need to really understand that. We need to connect with people as people and be very empathetic and sympathetic and helpful and respectful of that, and very nurturing. And the other thing I want you to do is at least leave with some kind of a bit of a content marketing strategy that you can action right away. So that's a lot to do in half an hour, so I'll try my hardest. As Sonia said, she just wrote a blog post about that very subject, about emotional people. I think that's what you're probably referencing. And Jane from the winery said, yes, people have asked us to keep it going. 100%. Like, I was so disappointed when my yoga instructor stopped doing the online service. You know, I don't like driving I live in Sydney. It takes me half an hour to get down the road. I don't want to drive half an hour down the road to do yoga. I want to do it online. And if somebody can't accommodate me in that, I'll find somebody that can, you know, and what a missed opportunity for her with her revenue. And so all I want with you guys, but I think you're already at that place because James warmed you up nicely, is I just want your promise to me is that you're going to stay really open, just explore the opportunities and the possibilities out there, and not one thing that people really do is when you present a new idea to them is that they go, well, that's fine for them, but it's not good for me. Like, just try and stay open and really replace that word I can't, just get rid of it in your vocabulary. Like, now's a real time for just being really open-minded and really looking around and seeing what people in other industries are doing and adapting yourself, and maybe picking up where, you know, people are doing things in that industry and doing it yourself. Like, we can be our greatest teachers and we can learn from each other and be really supportive. And just accept that now really is a time for you to be a business leader, not just a business owner. Like, we're going to have to do things really differently now to how we've always done them, and that's okay. So one of the things I've been saying in my connection marketing group, I have an online group that I meet with every Monday morning online, a Facebook community group, which I'll invite you guys to be a part of. I say to them, like, you guys, you have to start being way more out there in front of clients, in front of potential clients. You need to be more visible. You need to start doing video, and you also need to start doing Facebook Lives and being in Facebook groups and being really out there in front of communities. And that freaks most people out. And Kelly's actually, oh God, Kelly just said she loves our group. Yeah, Kelly's in the group. And I know it mortifies her when every time I ask her to do a video, but she does it. She's a brave chick. She pulls out her phone and she makes a video, posts it up, and she gets instant traction from her group. So things like doing the things you don't like, you know, Jane, you prefer to do a seminar in front of people, you know, a workshop in person. That's where we really shine. But we can't. We have to do them online right now. So we have to do things differently to how we've always done them. And as a business leader, we step up and we do those things. We don't shy away and just wait. We do them now, because we need to be taking action now, and it needs to be considered and strategic if we want half a chance to be top of mind when people are ready to buy again and spend their money again. So these are my values. Sonia, I'm way scared of putting my face online. Most people are, Sonia. And so in response to that, I've actually putting together a course right now, which is all about how to get confidence online. And, you know, it's a little bit of a personal self-help thing, which I'll share with you guys later. These are my values. I think it's really important that we talk to our values and we attract people who share our common values. I think it's also really important that we share what's important to us. We get really personal with our audiences. So every time I do a presentation, I always show a photo of my family because that's the most important thing to me. People know that I'm a family person. If you follow me online, you'll know my dog's names, you know my kids, you know, I've got 3 sons. And they used to be boys and now they're men. So I love sharing photos of them, you know, and it's a way to engage with people and it's a way to break down barriers. And particularly now when people are being far more emotional, far more caring, and we really do care. Like, you know, that's why when the Victorians came on, you know, you're on the webinar and we've acknowledged you several times, they're very caring about what's happening in your world and your space right now and very empathetic. And I feel like you need to be like this in your marketing moving forward if you want to be relevant. And some people are kind of like, oh, you know, I see Monique's on here now, she's in the building industry, and like you might be thinking, oh, you know, do people really care? But when you think about your audience, like they're a lot of people that are the decision makers in that audience, they're still family people. They're still people with real personal stories who've been personally affected or might know people personally affected from what we've all been through. So yes, being empathetic in any industry, you know, is going to work in your favor. People are not going to think less of you for actually being caring, particularly at a time like now. This is my creative team. I'm going to fly through these because I really want to get some important things across to you guys. It's what I've been talking about. So what business owners forget sometimes is that humans crave human connection, and it's built into us. It's in our DNA. It is part of who we are as human beings, and that's all we are in business. It's just humans dealing with other humans. We're selling them services, we're selling them products, we're selling them promises, and we're selling them dreams to make their dreams come true and to solve their problems and solve their issues. So one of the big missing pieces of the puzzle when we do business and when we do sales and we do marketing is that connection piece. And right now, connection is all about being personal, being trustworthy, and doing this online because sometimes that's the only way you can get in front of people. So if you're in my connection marketing course, or if you're a client of mine, you would have seen this. The way to get a customer is by creating desire, connection, proving your trust, definitely your credibility, and showing your value every day, day in, day out with the way that you post online. And that retains a customer for you. And these are all the ingredients that you need to get a customer in this day and age. Like I have a lot of old school clients that are sort of like, man, I used to remember when you could just put an ad in the yellow pages and then you just have a business for the next year, you know, or you could just put an ad in the newspaper and then people would just go to that ad, they'd see it, they'd ring you and you just have business for the next year, you know. It's not, and Jane will attest to this because Jane has been from that era and now is in the new era. You know, everything is online now. People do, you can come in and interject anytime you like, Jane. This is the era of online engagement where people research the crap out of you. They will like you in a heartbeat and dislike you in a heartbeat, you know, and you've got to really, that's what connection is all about, is just showing up, turning up, being consistent and congruent with who you are. So the people that do like you will continue to love you, and the people that don't like you, that's okay. They'll just move on and find somebody that they do like. And there's more than enough clients to go around for everybody, but you have to show up and turn up so people can see you and like you and get a good feeling for you so that you are top of mind for them when they do want to make that purchase.
And hey, Melissa, just on that, yeah, I mean, I am from the old school of that. So, you know, I think from my world as well, I've noticed the transparency of that, the standard. It really forces us to put our standards up and show up in a much more congruent manner because everything's so visual these days. So, yeah.
And that's a good thing. That's, you know, it's
great.
Having integrity and standing by what you do and what you say doesn't make you a big noter. It just makes you have integrity, and you should be sharing those stories. So
that's right.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll keep ripping through. So basically, the first thing I wanted to share with you is basically the opportunities, and I've touched on these already about getting your business and your team online. Anybody that's customer facing needs to sort of be up online in front of potential clients. You could be looking at online education as a potential opportunity for you, like I was talking about with, say, the yoga studios and the gyms getting all their services online just for this period of time when we were in lockdown. why not extend that as far as to actually online education with courses? And I've got some interesting statistics on that shortly. You need to be really relevant to your customers' needs right now, and you need to understand that things for them may have really changed. So you might have products that were great 3 months ago that was selling out and now are not even remotely of any interest to your clients. And the most important thing is you also do need to be able to show that it's possible, what you provide, that you can, it's possible for them and it can really help them. I'll expand on that. And Phil's just said, yep, that's what you're pivoting to, online training. 100% Phil. And I'm also doing exactly the same thing. I still provide all my services one-to-one, but online training is definitely where it's at. And I mean, that's why you guys are here on this webinar. This is, like, this will be a really regular thing for Jane and I do this regularly already on my own. Being online and being transparent, being available, sharing your knowledge, giving people a taste test of you is incredibly important. And these are some stats that I researched this week for you guys, showing that just in April alone in 2020, when we were all stuck inside, online shopping in Australia went up by 41%, which is a stupidly high amount. And these are the industries that it was, interestingly enough: food and beverages, no surprise there. I actually thought these are the online sales. People were still able to go to Dan Murphy's. So those lines in a Dan Murphy's would be not reflected in these things. But people like, Jane's business, for instance, her online, or her winery, definitely, sales would have been going up, and she'd be increasing the online aspect of that. Gifts and specialty stuff, apparel and accessories, toys and games. Like, apparently Jigsaw's sold out. It's crazy. And home and garden. I know I went and spent $1,000 in that period on my garden. I've got this little oasis inside my house now because that's what I turn to. And also, one thing that didn't say here, but I went to the music store and bought, I don't know if you guys got into anything else, but I got into music, and they said sales of pianos, I bought an electric piano, were up by 300% in their business around Australia, around the world. So crazy thing. So it's about seizing opportunities and jumping on that and making that part of your marketing strategy. Not being the last person to respond, but actually understanding your audience and being right at the front and the forefront. And this comes from having an intimate knowledge of what's going on in the world and being really mindful and aware and switched on, and talking to your audience and asking them, what do you want? What do you want? What do you need? How can I help you? And you get that when you're online daily. Kelly just said, yeah. So Kelly's one of my clients. She said, I found my dairy-free store got heaps of traffic. Yeah, so Kelly is in a very niche area. She does dairy-free products to people, parents who have children and themselves that are lactose intolerant. And so it was a big time for Kelly to be giving lots of education and lots of, specific blogs and online videos, and just, putting up ads and showing off. She was creating things in the kitchen and videoing that and putting that up online for people. It's just general content. But then they could have an opportunity to go back to her website and then purchase from the website. So keep your content as engaging as possible and as friendly and as helpful as possible. And this was a really interesting, this is the psychology thing that I was talking about earlier. This lady, Erica Carranza from the Consumer Psychology Market Research, she said buying things gives people a sense of control, hence why everybody was doing the really weird buying in bulk thing. But she said now, in the times past COVID, is when she wrote this, consumption is driven by very strong motivations like emotion, identity, and social connection. So this was, and I went on to read the article, and the link is in there. You can actually, I'll send you these notes. You can copy and paste it and read it in great detail if you want. But the guts of what she was talking about is that how people are going back to their base needs and their base wants and their base, what they stand for, and they were making their buying decisions on that. And I even know that internally we've changed a lot, become very emotive. It's all about customer service. It's about, I'm only giving money to people and businesses that I feel actually respect me and value me as a client, and they see me and they hear me and they care about me. And this is actually a very, very, it's a very well documented thing at the moment. This is what happens after a trauma, and this is where people go. And I think with all the things going on in the world at the moment, you could agree when you're watching online, people are in an heightened emotional state. So if you can be capping in on that with your marketing in the way that you are empathetic and sympathetic to their needs and can be very helpful, I think you'll be very relevant to your audience right now in the way that you market, rather than just talking about your products and your services and, oh yes, we do this, and we sell that. Really actually showing them that you understand them and that you care, and then showing your solutions that you have to their specific problems will really put you ahead of your competition and make the information that you give people as meaningful as possible. And Sonia's even chimed in, I've decided not to buy from Amazon because of the way they treated their employees. Thank you, Sonia, for sharing that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We're becoming quite moral, and this is what happens when we're in I say a traumatized state. Some people might not feel that we're traumatized, but we have been through a highly charged emotional state, and your audience is different to what they were 3 or 4 or 5 months ago. And you're different as a business owner, and they're different as a consumer. And I think now is the absolute time to jump on personal branding, which is what I'm an expert in and what I love to talk about. And this is just some stats I wanted to share with you about if you were thinking about getting into the online space. I looked this up for you. It's last year, it was in the US alone, it was an $18.6 billion industry, and they reckon by the end of 2025, it's going to become a $350 billion industry. And there's room for more. We've gone online. There is no denying it. Your audience is online, and that's how they're used to now consuming information. It takes 3 weeks, I think it is, to create a new habit. Well, we were trapped inside our houses in most of Australia for 2 months. So we've created new habits. We're online and we want to consume stuff online. So if you're a business that isn't online right now, or you don't have a capacity to reach people online or provide helpful information to people online, you are missing massive opportunities, and it's only growing. And I talk about this with my clients now. It's about this is another one of those pivotal moments in your business. Back when the internet came in, that was one of those pivotal moments. And I think this could be one of those pivotal moments too. This is when the world actually went online 100%, and really things that we used to just accept that we would just go to the shops and buy, we now don't accept that. If you don't provide it to me online, if you don't give it to me easily, and it just comes to my front door, well, then I'll just buy it from somebody who does. Thank you very much. And that might sound dramatic, but that is just my feeling, and the evidence shows that is the way it's going. So having said all that, it's really important then we can do, I'm going to let somebody in who's late, we can really do a lot of things online with our personal brand, which is wonderful. So this is actually where we have the advantage over the bigger players in the industry. We don't have, this is what big companies like, Myer or DJs or Target, they struggle getting a lot of traction online, whereas people, that are just individuals with their individual businesses can have, influencers can have amazing reach, because, when you brand your business around yourself, it's a person. Like, people trust people, not brands. You think about Lorna Jane or Michelle Bridges, or people that are just at the front of their business as themselves, as the human being at the front, have amazing traction because people have relationships with those people. They actually start to feel like they know them, and they definitely like them, and they definitely trust them. And therefore, that is how they develop that relationship with your company. So we can do this as a small business owner. And this is probably one of the greatest equalizers ever. Back in 10, 15, 20 years ago, before we had websites in our businesses, and it was all just about yellow pages ads, it was whoever could afford the biggest yellow pages ad got the biggest traction. Well, now it's really who actually creates the biggest personal reach and trust online gets the biggest audience. So I love it. It's just the greatest equalizer ever. And it's really, if you have most people I know your names here, you've got, small to medium, smallish businesses, you might have 10 or 20 staff members, some of you I recognize. So you would just have your customer facing guys would be out there as well at the front of your brand, creating their personal brand. And the reason why you would do this is because actually it's a statistic that 10 times your team will have, your sales team or you as a business owner will have 10 times more engaged followers on social media than your actual business will. So it's very important that you make it about your people. And when you get personal in your marketing, this is going to create an emotional response, which is then what creates the brand loyalty. And ways you can get personal online, some of you might have already seen these slides before, as that you really show the behind the scenes of everything. So people really engage with what is going on behind the scenes. They want to know, and it gets them to feel like they're sort of like you're lifting back that curtain, you're letting them in, they're connecting with you. They feel special. They feel like they're really being let in onto the secret club, and they want to see what is going on and have fun with you guys, So that's why I show photos of my family, or I might show my team, or I showed, a photo before of my creative team, a photo shoot that we were on. they're the kind of posts that get the most traffic and the most engagement. And that's where people really come to know who you are. And then you just inject ever so gently what it is that you're selling or your services or how you can be of assistance. And your relevance becomes very relevant to them, you know, and it becomes a two-way thing where you're showing your personal side to you, but also how you're an expert, how you're a leader and a guider. And you can be telling your stories of your clients and how you helped them. So then people are kind of like getting you the personality, but they're also getting you the story and how you can help people. So it's kind of like you merge these things together beautifully. So always talk direct to your audience. Make sure it's a two-way conversation. You can be doing things like getting segments on a radio shows, a lot of community radio programs out there, or even commercial. Podcasts are going through the roof. Webinars, you know, Jane and I are co-hosting this. You guys could have your own webinars. There's no reason why you couldn't do that. You know, blogs or vlogs, Facebook Lives, Facebook community groups. You could be doing, you know, in-house and professional videos to promote your special offers. That video is huge. It's 80% of the web traffic. You could be working, and I did this over the COVID period, and it was a great way how I met some of you guys here on the call today, working directly with industry organizations and associations so you can actually get in front of their members and their databases. Like, I've got one client who is in the psychology area, and she's working with an industry association who's got 20,000 members, and they're putting her up in front of them as a trusted advisor. So she's going out to 20,000 people. Now, all she has to do to make that really worth her while, apart from, you know, engage and give really great content, is offer some kind of thing at the end of it which is almost too good to be true, something that they need to download, and then they come and they type in their name and email address, and then she's going to have all those people in her database that she can then go and market back to and build that relationship. So really look to other organizations and strategic alliances of how you can get to far more people far more quickly. That is probably the biggest take-home point you're going to get from this entire presentation from me today, is how to grow quickly, particularly in times like now when people are freezing their spending and holding their purse strings and thinking twice about it. It's getting in front of more people through industry associations or through, you know, business leaders who have got great followings, and there's a lot of trust there, and then going in sideways. Sharing personal stuff about you, about your families, about people close to you, always being completely authentic. Jane used that word transparency before. That's incredibly important. And then also showing who's in your inner circle. You know, if you've got people that are influencers in your inner circle, really fly with that, you know, share that. If you've got really high profile clients, share that. Like, that can do amazing things for your personal brand and for your creating that trust online, which is what it's all about. And I want to quickly share this story with you guys. Most of you maybe have heard this story. This is where my whole connection marketing came from. This is just seemingly a bunch of normal blokes. When I was working with them 11 years ago, it's MDC Camper Trailers. It was about 11 years ago, so I started working with them. They had one showroom they were just opening up in Sydney. And in that period of time, Vaughan really trusted me, the business owner. Like, he didn't even believe in branding. He didn't know what it was. He was a croupier from a casino in Brisbane, and he just got into this world of, he was a very amazing entrepreneur. He started off selling flags in Lang Park car park during State of Origins, and then he graduated to, like, and then I think he started bringing in mini bikes and something, then he started bringing in camper trailers. And now move forward 10 years of after branding and using his sales team as his key people and using them in their marketing. Oh, no worries, Phil, I'll see you soon. Using them as the key people in their marketing and doing their personal branding all through them, through their videos, and creating a whole lot of online traffic through their sales team. They now have 11, they've expanded to 11 showrooms in Australia. They've just opened up in the US. They were the first camper trailers to sell into BCF. Which got them a huge, vast array of new clients with going through the BCF, piggybacking off that database. They now sell 27,000 units a year. When you consider, like, their cheapest camper trailer is about 15 grand and the dearest one's like 100, you can imagine the money they're turning over. And they're now up to, they had 88 friends on Facebook 10 years ago, and now they've got nearly 350,000. So this is, like, obviously what investing in your business and, you know, working with really qualified business advisors can do to help you grow and expand your business like this. But branding is what really put these guys on the map, and personal branding through their sales team. Like, all these guys here that you see, most of these guys are just normal blokes, but when they go to an expo or a show or something like that, oh, Jane, a friend of mine bought one yesterday from these guys. Exactly. That's how it is. It's phenomenal. The traction that they get is unbelievable. They go to, like Steve, that's my late husband in the middle, he would go to shows and he would be signing autographs. You know, they turn into rock stars of their industries, and all they were doing was making content back in the early days, before people were doing it, they were making videos and putting up content online and going through different distribution channels to wider audiences and just giving the audience what they wanted, which was just personal contact, great stories, really knockabout, likable, transparent, trustworthy guys who happen to be the sales team. And it's just no coincidence they've grown into one of the biggest caravan companies in Australia. And all of that was done off the back of personal branding. And that's what got me started with this whole connection marketing thing, is when I watched that with my own eyes over the past 10 years, I watched that business explode, and they did it off the back of their own team members, not off the back of influencers, not off the, they did invest a lot of money in their advertising. I won't exaggerate, I won't lie, but they did it off the back of their normal people and turning them into superstars. And they did it congruently. So as they made money, they would reinvest money. So these guys are one of the people that, when you said before, they didn't spend all their money on themselves. They reinvested back into their marketing, and their growth was very, very organic. So I love sharing their story. It's quite an amazing story. And you can see they're very normal, average looking people. Nothing glamorous about these guys, in their industry rock stars. So you can adapt these same principles into your own business. It is so possible. And sales rep who use, I'll give you some good stats. Sales reps who use social media, they outsell 78% of their peers. I would know that when Steve would just throw up on his Facebook, his personal Facebook page, he said, if we're having a sale tomorrow, they would do record numbers the next day. The traction was enormous. They're also in the group space now on Facebook. You should actually be really looking into having your own personal groups if you've got your business, and how to gain traction. And they've got a members group. There's tens of thousands of people in that members group. And so you've got members now selling to other people who are considering buying their product. So now you've got invested people who are so into your brand because they love the people behind your brand. They're selling for you. Like, seriously, I should be on a commission status, the amount of people I've sold trailers to. 92% of people trust recommendations from an individual versus 33% trusting the company message. So every time MDC put out a message that just comes from them, it's nowhere near as powerful as when it is when one of their guys puts out a message, or somebody from that Facebook group puts out a message. So personal branding is so incredibly powerful. And particularly when you're the business owner, 82% of customers, they're going to trust your company when the business owner is on social media. So it's really important that you get over any kind of fears or shyness that you might have, or reservations that you might have about yourself. Like, I really feel like that if you want to be a business owner these days, a business leader, and you want to be relevant and you want to grow, you do actually need to have some kind of digital footprint, and you need to be out there. So whether it is that you can be just your own personality, you don't have to be bigger than Ben-Hur, you can just be just likable, helpful, share great content, and just be serious if that's who you are. Just be congruent with who you are and be really authentic is the number one most important thing. But you need to be online. I can't think of an industry, and throw one into the chat box if you like. If you can think of an industry of where it won't be of benefit for the business owner to be online, or to be in front of their business, I'd love you to challenge me. I'm yet to find one. And this is really important too. I'm going to run out of time. I always do. But it's very important that with your audience that you get them to believe it's possible, whatever it is that you have that you're selling. Because quite often this is the missing ingredient with marketing, is that people will put up their product and they know what the pain their audience is in, and they put up a product, but they don't actually believe that it's possible for them, that they can actually do what it is that you sell. So using myself as an example, I will put up, for instance, I've got an online course coming up that'll be all about how to make video. But there'll be a great percentage of people that'll be like, I really should buy that course. But you know what? I'm not going to, because I, just like one of our lovely guests today just shared with us, is that I'm not going to get in front of video. I'm too scared. That's fine for that person over there, but it's not fine for me. I'm just not that person that can do video. So in actual fact, I'm going to put up, because I recognize this, I'm actually creating 2 courses right now at this moment. One is how to create video, and the other one is how to be confident in front of a camera and be able to get over your fear of public speaking. Because I recognize that that's the actual true fear that people have. So what's holding them back from making video is not actually knowledge around making video, it's their fear around making video. And so if you can think about this with your business, whatever it is that you sell, there is something that somebody fears about what it is that you sell, whether it's a product, whether it's a service. And it generally comes down to self-belief. that they don't think it's for them. And that's why you're losing sales potentially. It's not that your product's not good. It's not that it isn't like that. It will help them. It could be amazing for them. But if they don't believe it's for them, then it's a sale lost. And I think that's where people, that's like the secret ingredient of marketing. And that's why some people have amazing connection, amazing rapport, and have a lot of followers, and other people don't, is because people, they might be giving all this information and all this stuff, but it's just, people aren't buying into it because they don't believe it's for them. And I just want to share this story. I think some of you guys probably recognize this guy. I've talked about him before, but I just want to share with you what he's done. So in the past 18 months, he went from one restaurant to 20 restaurants. And then COVID hit. And so he was out of business. He had to shut his doors. He's in clubs, and all clubs had to shut their doors. So he couldn't even do takeaway for the first month. And so, he had to let off 250 staff. It was a pretty horrific time, very stressful time. But because he's a master of personal branding and a master at looking at opportunities and seizing opportunities, he actually spent that time marketing his business and his services as a catering company, because he knows it's going to come back online. And he set up 3 new restaurants. So guess who had 3 more restaurants to open when they were allowed to go back into business? It's him. So he now has 24 plus dining concepts. So in that time, he didn't just sit in a corner licking his wounds, lamenting over what the hell happened to me. He kept his business moving forward. He kept marketing. He was consulting. So he just pivoted. He started consulting to other restaurants and other restaurant owners and developing his personal brand and pushing it forward and pushing it forward. He's quite an icon in his industry right now, and he opened with more restaurants, not less, because he has a belief around himself and he backs himself, but he understands that this is just a period of time to move through. And so it all changed for him when he started branding himself properly, and he started branding his business, Catering HQ, around himself. And we even set up his own website for him as an industry icon, because he now does all these awards winning stuff. Yeah, thank you, Jane. Yeah, he does all this award winning stuff. Like judging, and he's always writing. He does a lot of PR. He's become an industry icon, and he's coined the phrase hospitality entrepreneur, because that is who he sees himself as. He created his own category. He niched as a catering company into his own category that nobody is in, and he sits there in it. And now he just has a whole lot of people following him because they see him as an industry advisor, and he set the whole thing up all by himself, just by personal branding and working with us, with him, and I guess, for me, you guys might be sort of thinking, oh, well, that's great for him, but he conceived this. We conceived this together. It wasn't something that fell in his lap. He had to create this opportunity, and he did. And his business is exploding, not contracting, as we've gone back into business. I'm very conscious of the time now, so I'm going to fly through. Of course, I haven't got half of my stuff that I normally like to talk about. I'm just going to go to basically your homework, and then I'm going to wrap it up. So basically what I want you guys to do is really look at how you can be doing things differently in your business, how you can get yourself online, how you can triple your communication with your current and potential customers, and how you can do it so that you're more relevant to them. We talked about emotions before and how you have a very emotionally charged audience right now. How can you be flipping what it is that you do and be more empathetic to them and more sympathetic to their notion, and show that you really care, and triple that communication and make some of it video. I really want to see that over the next week, and then come back to me and let me know how you go. I'd love that. And I want you to really understand that 80% of your time, if you're earning under $1 million, you should be spending a lot of that, up to 80% of your time, in sales and marketing. Like Jane was saying, getting out of being the engineer in your business and getting into being the business owner or the business leader. And you can talk to Jane about how you do that, and you can talk to me about how you do that if you like. And so my offer to you guys is that I have my online course. You're most welcome to go check that out. It's connectionmarketing.online. I have my new mini courses coming out shortly. I'll send all this to you in an email after this with the copy of the actual presentation, so you can rewatch this. And this is my online course. Normally to do it, it's $999, a one-off payment, but it's actually going up in a week's time. I'm putting it up to $1,500 because it's such a good course. And I've had it as a cheap COVID special all this time. And it teaches you a lot of the stuff about how to write your own marketing and strategy, your own marketing and action plan, and how to create content and do a whole lot of stuff. I can talk to you about that privately because I've run out of time. And you can most welcome to book a 30-minute consult with me as a special offer after this. And we can have a chat, and we can see if you want to do stuff one-on-one, or if you're interested in my course, we can just have a chat about your business specifically, because I always run over time. So if there's any questions now, you are most welcome to share them. And I just wanted to share Jane's offer again as well. Hers was that you can book a one-on-one appointment with her as well. So don't forget, jane@realbusinessgroup.com.au, or you can book a 30-minute consult with me. info@divinecreative.com.au, but we will send you emails with all this information in it this afternoon, so you'll see that. And if you, thanks Jane. Yeah, Jane and Kelly are in the call. They went through the course with me and worked with me one-to-one. Thank you, Jane. She highly recommends it. And Jane was from the winery and Kelly's from Dairy Free Store. Did you guys, if Jane wants to, you're off, you've got your microphone back on. Did anybody want to ask any questions quickly into the chat box if you want to hang around? And thanks so much for hanging around. Like, you've all stuck here, which is amazing. I think I've gone a couple of minutes over, 3 minutes over. So if you guys have any questions, we were so happy to hang around and answer any questions. There's a whole lot of stuff about content that I didn't share, but I think I sort of like touched on and talked about the main gist of it, basically about what you should be doing and why you should be doing it. Because it's really strategic, isn't it, Jane? Like, you need to understand why you're going to do it, not just get out there and do 20 different blog posts or make videos. If you don't understand why you're doing it, then it's just going to fall on deaf ears. Did you want to add anything, Jane? Does anybody want to add anything? If you've got questions, pop them in the chat box. And Jane, do you want to add anything?
Well, I think at the end of the day, you know, there's for everybody here, I want to say thank you so much for your time and energy today and listening in. And, you know, these opportunities are there for your benefit. If you want to, you know, have further conversation with us, we'd be delighted to support you through that process, whatever that is for you. So I want to say thank you for your time and energy. It's been lovely working with you today. Really good. Yeah. And thank you, Melissa.
Oh, you're welcome. It's always a treat.